Steven Tyler turned 77 in 2025, and his appearance at the Rock Hall induction shocked fans who were used to seeing him in full stage makeup. Cameras caught him barefaced, deep lines carved across his forehead, and longtime followers were taken aback. Photos from that year showed more change than anyone expected. His hands trembled, his voice had grown thin, and doctors suggested the issues were rooted in the hard living he once glorified on stage. His aging became a symbol of how intensely he had lived and how much the years had asked of him. Stephen Victor Tallarico was born on March 26, 1948, in Manhattan's Stuyvesant Polyclinic Hospital. His father Victor was a classically trained pianist who taught high school music, while his mother Susan filled the home with Polish heritage and firm structure. Their apartment overflowed with piano notes and expectations. Stephen loved the noise but hated the pressure, and music became both his refuge and the thing he resented for being tied to rules he didn't want to follow. When the family moved to the Bronx, things only grew harder. Skinny, curly-haired, and awkward, he became a target for neighborhood kids. School days bruised his confidence, and acting out became his way of shielding himself. At home, his father's strict practice routines made him feel even more boxed in. He found solace in local parks, where doo-wop singers gathered beneath streetlights. Listening to them gave him a glimpse of a life where people actually wanted to hear him. By the time the family moved again in 1957 to Yonkers, he carried a growing hunger for performance. He played makeshift drums on pots and cardboard, and at night hit Elvis Presley records under the classical music that ruled the living room. That quiet tug-of-war shaped the performer he would become, someone who could jump between styles and emotions in a single breath. Around age 10, he learned his grandfather had been a bootlegger in the 1920s, and the story thrilled him. It made rebellion feel like family history and gave him permission to imagine life outside conventional lines. Asthma hit him early and often, forcing him to lie in bed gasping while other kids ran free. Those long hours of imagining himself on stage created the showman inside him. The screams and leaps he performed decades later were rooted in childhood escapes from a body that wouldn't cooperate. By 14 he had formed his first band, The Strangers, later renamed Chain Reaction. During a chaotic rehearsal when he was 16, he belted out a scream that reminded his bandmates of Little Richard, and they pushed him from the drums to the microphone. He opened for groups like the Beach Boys and the Byrds, wearing platform shoes and draping himself in scarves long before it became his look. School suspended him repeatedly, and he was eventually expelled for marijuana, finishing instead at the Quintano School for Young Professionals, which he paid for by busking and selling leather goods. The city's counterculture soaked into him, shaping the singer who later dominated stages. In 1967, at a New Hampshire ski resort, he met Tom Hamilton, and the spark that eventually became Aerosmith ignited. By 1969, he was gigging in Boston, diving into crowds and stirring near riots with his wild performances. Then, on July 31, 1970, he joined Hamilton, Joe Perry, Joey Kramer, and Ray Tabano in a Boston apartment, and Aerosmith was officially born. Their first show that November drew only a couple hundred kids, and Tyler smashed the drum kit after being paid just $50. Chaos followed them, but so did word of their power. Columbia Records signed them in 1972, and their debut album arrived early the next year. As they recorded Get Your Wings in 1974, Tyler overdubbed harmonies for 12 straight hours, pushing so hard he ended the night bleeding from his throat. Dream On finally exploded in 1975, and California Jam that same year gave Tyler a moment of reckless legend when he leaped 20 feet off a drum riser, broke his heel and kept singing. Success and excess rose together. While making toys in the attic, he scribbled "Walk This Way" on a stairwell wall because he had no paper, snorted cocaine off the mixing board, and barely slept. By 1976, his personal life tangled publicly when he suddenly proposed to a fan on stage, prompting his girlfriend Bebe Buell to confront him in front of everyone. Drugs grew dominant, and his voice sometimes slurred at shows. In 1977, he nearly overdosed backstage while touring with the Rolling Stones. During the Draw the Line sessions, he collapsed from heroin, delaying the album for weeks and costing the band thousands. By 1979, tensions exploded when an argument involving spilled milk turned into a physical fight between Tyler and Perry. Perry quit and the band began to unravel. Tyler overdosed on methadone in 1980, collapsed on stage and required CPR. Rock in a Hard Place limped out in 1982, while Tyler drifted through addiction. Attempts at rehab in 1983 and 1984 were followed by relapses, arrests, overdoses, and more damaged relationships. His personal life was equally complicated. Liv Tyler was born in 1977, though she wouldn't learn he was her father until 1991. His marriage to Serinda Fox produced a daughter, Mia, but collapsed under addiction and instability. A previous relationship with Julia Holcomb in the early 70s later resurfaced in allegations of manipulation and trauma. His marriage to Teresa Barrick in 1988 brought 2 more children before ending in 2006. Later relationships followed, including his eventually public partnership with Amy Preston, decades younger but central to his later recovery. Then came a rebirth. Permanent Vacation in 1987 put Aerosmith back on the map. Pump in 1989 secured their return with hits like Janie's Got a Gun, which earned Tyler his first Grammy. By the early 90s they were global stars again, performing before 1 million people in Moscow and releasing albums that sold tens of millions. Tyler battled brief relapses but managed to stay in the fight. Walk This Way's 1986 collaboration with Run DMC became historic, bridging rock and rap, reviving Aerosmith's career, and influencing generations of artists. Tyler later entered a different spotlight as an American Idol judge, earning millions and stirring headlines, though the gig created tension within Aerosmith. His 2006 memoir revealed the scale of his drug use, his chaotic past, and even a suicide attempt. Acting appearances came and went, but what mattered more in his later years was Janie's Fund, launched in 2015 to support abused girls. By 2025, it had raised tens of millions and opened new centers across the country. Health struggles continued. Foot surgery in 2009 triggered a relapse into prescription drugs. A 2011 motorcycle crash led to multiple surgeries. In 2023 he fractured his larynx during Aerosmith's farewell tour, and by 2024 doctors confirmed the damage was permanent. Yet he appeared at charity events and award shows in 2025, singing through pain and strain, earning standing ovations even as he risked further injury. At home fans glimpsed a quieter man. Amy Preston's post showed him cooking, practicing yoga, laughing with friends, and living with visible tremors many believed were tied to his past. His face had aged sharply, prompting discussions about cosmetic work, road life, and genetics. But what came through more clearly was survival, the persistence of someone who had walked through extremes and still found ways to give.